Do you know that, unlike the footage I just showed, Dave the Diver was originally a mobile game focused on environmental protection? In 2018, Dave the Diver was originally developed as a mobile game in cooperation with National Geographic. The game features a diverse underwater ecosystem and a camera function, much like the official version recently released. However, it does not include any fishing elements or management aspects after the player returns to shore. Harpoons were used to capture robot fish from nowhere, and the boss fight in the game was against giant robot fish. This gameplay mechanic is unsurprisingly not as entertaining as the current mechanics. In the current version, even extreme environmentalists become one of the antagonists in the game, and it's possible because that the development experience has left a bad impression on the development team. By the failure of their earlier project, which may have led to the dismissal of the developer team, they later achieved enormous success. Dave the Diver, which receives a 97% good reviews on Steam, has a warm-hearted backstory. The protagonist of this story named Dave Shaw. Who is Dave? David Shaw was a daring scuba diver who loved discovering uncharted areas. In 2005, he embarked on an ambitious mission to descend 270 meters below the Earth's surface to recover the body of Dean Dreyer. Dreyer had tragically lost his life a decade earlier during an expedition to Bushman's Hole, a sinkhole in South Africa that reaches a depth of 300 meters. At that time, Dreyer was only 20 years old. Dreyer's parents created the plaque at the entrance of the cave, not only to commemorate their son, but also in hopes that future divers will assist in recovering his body. 10 years later, Dave discovered the plague and ultimately decided to help recover Dreyer's remains. Even the bravest diver may struggle to complete this task. While diving into deep water can be done quickly, resurfacing must be done slowly to avoid decompression illness. Even though it was super dangerous, they still wanted to get Dreyer's body. The rescue team quickly developed a plan. Dave would dive down to 270 meters to retrieve Dreyer's body and place it in the bag. At 220 meters, he would be met by the first support team, and subsequent teams would meet him at 150 meters and 90 meters. Dave successfully descended to 270 meters and located Dreyer's remains, but the cave's harsh environment and unforeseen circumstances led to him becoming entangled in the rope during the recovery process. Despite attempting to cut the guide rope with scissors, he was unable to do so, and his breathing became increasingly irregular. Ultimately, he lost consciousness in the endless darkness and immense water pressure. When Dave's team members did not see him at the designated time, they searched for several hours before exhausting their resources and having to reluctantly give up. 5 days later, when they returned to the cave, they finally discovered Dave's body floating to the surface. Attached to him by a single guide rope was Dreyer's body. The diver who found their bodies at the first time wrote the following sentence on a whiteboard: "Dave not coming back." With careful guidance from the rescue team, they were able to successfully bring them both to the surface. I've never played a game like Dave the Diver before. The characters and story are so endearing, and I could spend hours exploring the underwater world and managing the restaurant. There are also tons of fun minigames and surprises that keep things exciting throughout the 30-hour journey. Though the bosses may not be too challenging and there are some bugs here and there, the game is so jam-packed with intriguing elements that it's definitely one of my top picks for this year.